Good day everyone. We are from Teacher Education Department and we will be presenting the ethics of Jainism.
Good day everyone. I'm Rodolfo Paglingayen Jr. I'm going to discuss about ethical theory and its definition of Jainism. First, let's define Jainism. It means a non-theistic religion founded in India in the 6th century by the Jaina Vardhamana Mahavira as a reaction against the teaching of Orthodox Brahmanism and is still practiced there. It is how the Jain religion teaches salvation by perfection through successive lives, non-injury to living creatures, and is noted for its ascetics. And also, Jainism is one of the three ancient Indian religious traditions still in existence. Let's proceed to their ethical theory or the Jain ethical code that is prescribed to dharmas or rules of conduct. That one for those who wish to become ascetic and another for the Sarvaga or the householders have 5 fundamental vows are prescribed for both votaries. The ascetics observe these 5 vows more strictly and therefore observe complete abstinence. These 5 vows are ahimsa or non-violence, satya or being truth, asteya or non-stealing, brahmacharya, chastity, and lastly, aparigraha or non-possession. This ethical theory says that it is how Jainism believe that the only way to save one's own soul is to protect every other soul. The heart of Jain ethics is that the ahimsa or the non-violence is that in the practical term is the biggest part of ahimsa is placed in the lives of lay Jain today is in the regulation of their diet.
The distinction between theology and theology is today almost universally accepted within the practical philosophy, but theology is and has from the beginning been subordinate utilitarianism. Theology was constructed by Bentham to signify the arts and science of the private morality. Within the utilitarian worldview, the classical distinction was the construct by Broad as the benefit of sidewalk. To Broad, it is signified two opposite tendencies in ethics. However, it's become an exclusive distinction where theology signifies disregards for consequence, and it's therefore almost impossible to think of theology as a framework for a comprehensive ethical theory. This conception, however, is adopted by Rawls, and in his contractian interpretation of theology, it is a fact no more with the sphere of ethics. What is natural law? Natural law is a theory in ethics and philosophy that says that human beings possess interactive values in the government our reasoning and behavior. Natural law is the maintain these rules of right and wrong are inherent in the people and are not created by society or court judge. Natural law holds that there are universal moral standards that inherent in humankind throughout all time, and his standard showed from the basis of a just society. Human beings are not natural law per se, but rather we discovered its dishonesty making choices from the good instead of evil. From some school of truth believes that natural law is passed to humans via a divine process, All truth, natural law mainly applies to the realm of ethics and philosophy. It is also used extensively in theoretical economics. Utilitarianism is a theory of morality which advocates actions that foster happiness or pleasure and opposes actions that cause unhappiness or harm. When directed towards making social, economic, or political decisions, a utilitarian philosophy would aim for the betterment of the society as a whole. Utilitarianism would say that an action is right if it results in the happiness of the greatest number of the people in the society or a group. Utilitarianism is a tradition of ethical philosophy that is associations with Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, two late 18th and 19th centuries British philosophers, economics, and political thinkers. Utilitarianism holds that an action is right if it tends to promote happiness, and wrong if it tends to procedure sadness or the reverse of the happiness, not just the happiness of the actor but that of everyone affected by it. At work, you display utilitarianism when you take actions to ensure that the office is the positive environment for you to co-workers to be in, and then make it so for yourself.
Hi classmates, I'm Princess Terry Mangilit, a student in Colegio D. Dagupan, taking up the course of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics. So our topic today is all about famous thinkers or proponents and opponents of Jainism. So who is the famous thinkers or proponents and opponents of Jainism? The famous thinker or proponent is Nataputta Mahavira, also known as Vardhamana, was the 24th Tirthankara of Jainism. He was the spiritual successor of the 23rd Tirthankara Parshvanatha. Mahavira was born in the early part of the 6th century BCE into a royal family in Bihar, India. His mother's name was Trishala and his father's name was Siddhartha. Why is Jainism not popular religion? Because Jainism can never become a popular religion because of its asceticism. What is asceticism? Asceticism is a lifestyle characterized by abstinence from sensual pleasures, often for the purpose of pursuing spiritual goals. Ascetics may withdraw from the world for their practices or continue to be part of their society, but typically adopt a frugal lifestyle, characterized by the renunciation of material possession and physical pleasures, and also spend time fasting, while concentrating on the practice of religion or reflection upon spiritual matters. Jainism did not become popular religion because of the following reasons. First, it had many strict laws that were very hard to follow. Second, they did not have orders or many places to live, unlike Buddhism, which had many places to live. They could not step into a water body unless it was for the cause of death. Fourth, the Jainism monks did not promote their religion to a good extent, whereas Buddhism did. Fifth, the Jainism could not hurt others even if it was for self-defense because they don't like to hurt anyone.
What are some criticism of Jainism? Few religions or system of belief can coexist without enduring their fair share of criticism. Whether fair or unfair, and Jainism is no different. The ancient Indian religion is still practiced by millions even today, with smaller non-Indian communities located with Canada, the United Kingdom, Europe, Kenya, Asia, and even the United States. If you ever read about a festival called Paryashana, Daslakshana, Mahavir, Jayante, or Diwali, those are Jain events. The word Jain itself comes from the Sanskrit word for victor and signifies a Jain ethical and spiritual journey through life and a continuous number of rebirths. The Jain theory of karma supposes that karma is a physical substance found everywhere and that the substance is attracted to a person's soul dependent on the action of the person. In other words, the more harmonious someone is with the civilization or natural world around them, the more karma he or she would attract. Critics often question the lack of oversight by a god. This criticism of Jainism is levied intellectually and is based on whether or not the religion's belief and practices remains consistent with those who teach them. The idea of fueling a religion thrive because they offer solution, but critics of Jainism suggest that certain Jain doctrines promote hesitancy or uncertainty among followers to create new problems over solution. How can the fate of your soul be governed entirely by your own action without any connection to a supreme being? Critics believes that at the very least that which you receive for your good action must be administered by a supreme being and not by the supposed tangible substance they call karma. Other critics believe that the very idea of Jainism undoes itself because of Jain epistemology can deny doctrines that contradict its own. Jainism possesses a complex reality that cannot possibly be described or comprehended by a single doctrine, and therefore its own must not adequately articulate that which is must articulate in order to make universal sense. The Jain doctrines itself would prefer to reconcile rather than contradict or refute, but perhaps this is a reason for the religion's popularity to begin with. Other Jain practices are more heavily criticized and by a larger swath of population, where Jains tribe minors or are often inducted into Jain monastic orders. Jain certainly fasts purposely that, and women seems to be capable of less authoritative position than men.
Jainism has contributed a lot to the both culture and religion in India and from the point of remainder of the world. This is a direct result of the extraordinary lack of the religion, on the grounds that Jains have for the most exceptionally instructed individuals in India, and because of the perceived honesty of the religion, Jains are respected to the point that some non-Jain sanctuary in India and regulated by Jains. Shobihar is a terminology and practice in Jainism, which means one does not take any food or liquids after the sunset until the sunrise in the next day. Jainism trusts in the extreme type of peacefulness. There are organisms which stow away amid in daylight. They return once the sun sets. They enter our natural peaking order and arrangement after the dusk. So, the benefits of Shobihar are better digestion, weight loss, better sleep, early rise, time for morning fitness, better cholesterol control, good for diabetes. So, why do Jainism fasting? Jain's fast may be done as a penance, especially for monks and nuns. Fasting also purifies body and mind, remains the practitioner of Mahabharata's emphasis, renunciation, and asceticism because Mahabharata spent a great deal of time fasting.
So hello guys, now I'm going to present to you about the taking of human life of Jainism. This is the old religion in this world. Outside of India, kakaunti lang ang may alam sa relihiyong ito. isang banayad na pananampalataya na ang sinaunang panuto ay palaging nag-aalaga ng isang ecological na paraan. Ecological means ito ay pag-aaral sa kapaligiran kung paano nabuhay ang lahat ng may buhay sa mundo. Sa ugat ng maawaing na filosofiya ng Jainism ay ang pagsaling ng ahimsa, nangangahulugang di karahasan, an approach to the world that greatly influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Ngayon sa kapaligiran ng mundo at lahat ng mga species nito sa ilalim ng patuloy na pagkubkob. In this accessible, the Jain antidotes to human violence and environmental abuse come elegantly and persuasively to light. That's all.
Jain doctor position on abortion. Is it inconsistent with the doctrine of ahimsa? Are such exemption taken with regards to animal life? Isn't the doctrine of reincarnation the strongest argument for the anti-abortion position? In the West, we can say that the fetus is not a person until late in pregnancy, but in India, our personal identities. Jainism claim or stand in regards to the issue of abortion. Apart from that, it is vivid that Jainism is very fond of a non-violence word, and when we say non-violence, they do not support eating meat, known to be vegetarian in layman's terms. But the question is, when does the believer of Jainism consider that the life is in the womb of a woman can be considered as a baby? If the life inside the mother womb already has sense, it can now be considered as a baby, and killing it by abortion in a moral sense, just like any other belief of a religion.
The acceptance of the category of a third sex has been part of the Indian worldview for nearly 3,000 years. The concept took during the late Vedic period on the basis of observed male gender non-conformity. Men who were impotent, did not impregnate women, were effeminate or transvestite, were regarded as napumsaka, literally not a male that is unmale. Indian speculation on the characteristics by which a person can be identified as belonging to one of the three sexes arose in the context of examining the relationship between natural gender or sex and grammatical gender. The adoption of napumsaka as the technical term for the third grammatical gender may be regarded as signaling the acceptance of the animal as a true third sex. However, as a grammatical term, napumsaka was interpreted to mean neither male nor female. And this interpretation was now applied to those persons who were previously viewed as being males not conforming to gender rule expectations, resulting in their being regarded as a person of ambiguous sex. This element of ambiguity was to play a role in the later Jain conception of third sex sexuality.
The evaluation of ethics of Jainism. Jains believe that plants and animals, but also humans, comprise internal souls. Any of these spirits is considered of equal worth and must be treated with kindness and sensitivity. And also, Jainism is a self religion. Jains believe in the afterlife and aim for ultimate liberation, which entails breaking free from the endless cycle of birth, death, and reincarnation, such that the eternal soul might dwell and enjoy eternally. Jainism believes that eliminating all karma from the soul leads to liberation, and there are no gods or spiritual creatures who will come to the aid of humans. Nevertheless, Jainism has three guiding principles, also known as the three jewels. These are the proper belief, right knowledge, and right behavior. Also, Jainism has one of the 5 Mahabharatas, and this is the non-attachment to possessions. And the other Mahabharatas are not lying, not stealing, and sexual restraint. On the other side, non-violence is the highest precept of the Jain lifestyle, also called ahimsa in Jainism. The meaning of all life and action in Jainism is to realize the peaceful and happy state of our true being. True philosophy should release all karmas in the process of purifying the soul. Jainism's main point is that spirituality is a philosophy of ethical behavior.
Question number 1. What is Jainism and why is it important? Jainism is one of the 3 ancient religions of India, with a value system that puts non-violence above else. Jainism is the world's most peace-loving religion because of its strict doctrine of non-violence and been respected for so long. Mahatma Gandhi, who was born a Hindu, he was an admirer of Jainism's teachings and adopted the doctrine of non-violence in his movement for Indian independence. Question number 2. What are the basic beliefs of Jainism? Is there any one principle above all which characterizes Jainism? A religion of self-help, there are no gods or spiritual beings that will help human beings. The 3 guiding principles of Jainism, the 3 jewels, are right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. The principle of Jain, living in non-violence. Yes, ahimsa or non-violence against all living beings, no matter how tiny in our perspective, is the foundational concept of Jainism. To a sincere Jain, mental and verbal aggression are just as evil as physical assault. Question number 3. Which is the most important principle of Jainism? Can Jains defend themselves? Self-defense is permitted in society, but must be viewed through multiple viewpoints before action is taken. Jainism preaches for no violence toward humans, animals, or insects. Practitioners avoid eating meat and in certain cases refrain from bathing since water sustains living forms. The ahimsa concept is a major tenet of Jainism. It maintains that all violent conduct must be abandoned and that without such a dedication to non-violence, all religious practice is meaningless. Question number 4. What is unique about Jainism? According to some information about Jainism, it says that Jains believe in reincarnation. In the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, their souls, which are said to be a unique substance in the cosmos, adopt many living forms. This cycle has been going on indefinitely. The cosmos has no origin or conclusion, and it has always been and will continue to be. Question number 5. What are 3 important facts about Jainism? There are interesting Jainism facts. All life from germs to plants, animals and people has a soul in Jainism. Because they all have souls, they can all achieve nirvana. Jains do not worship a god or a saint, but rather strive for nirvana, which they believe previous freed souls have accomplished.